Austin established his colony in a very fertile area of southeast Texas, bounded by the watersheds of the Brazos River on the northeast and the Colorado River on the southwest. It extended from the Gulf Coast as far up as the Camino Real, the old Spanish road that traveled from San Antonio into East Texas. It was a vast stretch of land that included some of the best cotton growing soil and climate anywhere in the world. And this would be Austin. This was not by chance, right? Austin knew that the prosperity of his settlement depended upon the booming cotton economy, which was in turn based upon slave labor, that had made so many of his fellow Southerners rich. He knew that with the allure of cheap, fertile cotton land, he would have no trouble attracting American immigrants. Austin faced many challenges in his colony. First, there were the Indians, which were a real challenge. The fierce Karankawa tribe down in the coastal areas were not particularly eager to have these American intruders on their hunting grounds. Austin made it clear that the Karankawas needed to either submit to American authority or be forcibly removed. In the end, they were mostly forcibly removed. He also had to deal with the weaknesses besetting the Mexican government. Mexican politics was very volatile, very unstable, and the instability that he had witnessed firsthand during that year in Mexico continued over the next 15 years. And then he also had to deal with the colonists themselves. Austin, at one point early in his time administering his colony, wrote this about his colonists: "I have had two difficult tasks to perform here. One, to manage the government, and the other to manage the settlers. Of these, the latter were by far the most difficult. I do say that North Americans are the most obstinate and difficult people to manage that live on the earth. Judging by my own experience, I fear that the predominant trait in the North American character are ingratitude, selfishness, and avarice." Things took a particular bad turn when settlers up in East Texas in the Nacogdoches area in 1827 decided to declare independence from Mexico. Now, this was not in Austin's colony. It was in a colony headed by another newly appointed impressario named Haden Edwards. Edwards and his followers declared the independence of the Republic of Fredonia, and when Austin learned the news, he was horrified because he knew that this jeopardized all of his well-laid plans. Austin called out his own colonial militia, joined forces with Mexican troops from San Antonio and Goliad, and marched together, Mexicans and Anglo-Texans arm in arm, to put down the Fredonia Rebellion in Nacogdoches. By the time they got there, the whole rebellion had more or less fallen apart, and it ended up being more of a sort of comic opera sort of episode. But nonetheless, Austin had, there were several important consequences as a result of the rebellion. Austin had won the confidence of the Mexican government, to be sure, but the government had also had a wake-up call that you better watch these Anglo-Americans. Their loyalties might be suspect.